instant he thought that Delman was straining to draw breath through his shattered face. Then he realized that he was listening to his own ragged breathing. On the nearer nightstand, the lighted green numbers on the digital clock were flashing. Time changes were occurring at a frantic pace, 10 minutes with every flash, the hours reversing through the early evening and backward into the afternoon. Joe had the crazy thought that the malfunctioning clock, which must have been hit by a stray shotgun pellet, might magically undo all that had happened. That Delman might rise from death as the pellets rattled backward into the barrel, and torn flesh reknit. That in a moment Joe himself might be on the Santa Monica beach once more, in the sun, and then back in his one-room apartment in the moon-deep night, on the telephone with Beth in Virginia, and backward, still backward, until Flight 353 had not yet gone down in Colorado. From downstairs came a scream, imploding his desperate fantasy. Then another scream. He thought it was Lisa. As tough as she was, she had probably never before screamed in her life. Yet this was a cry of sheerest childlike terror. He had been gone from the kitchen for at most a minute. What could have happened in a minute, so fast? He reached toward the shotgun, intending to pluck it off the corpse. The magazine might contain other rounds. No, now it's a suicide scene. Move the weapon and it looks like a murder scene, with me as the suspect. He left the gun untouched. Out of the thin, blood-filtered light, into the hallway where a funerary stillness of shadows stood sentinel, toward the enormous chandelier that hung in a perpetual crystal rain above the foyer staircase. He ran. The shotgun was useless. He wasn't capable of firing it at anyone. Besides, who was in the house but Georgine and Lisa? No one. No one. Down the stairs, 2 at a time, 3 at a time. Under the crystal cascade of beveled teardrops, he grabbed at the banister to keep his balance. His palms, slick with cold sweat, slid across the mahogany. Along the lower hall in a thunder of footsteps, he heard jangling music, and as he slammed through the swinging door, he saw pendulous copper pots and pans swinging on the racks overhead, gently clinking together. The kitchen was as softly lit as it had been when he left. The overhead halogen downlights were dimmed so low as to be all but extinguished. At the far end of the room, backlit by the quivering glow of the 3 decorative oil lamps on the table, Lisa stood with her fists pressed to her temples, as if struggling to contain a skull-cracking pressure. No longer screaming, she sobbed, groaned, shuddered out whispery words that might have been, "Oh God, oh God." Georgine was not in sight. As the copper chimes subsided like the soft, dissonant music in a dream of trove, Joe hurried toward Lisa, and from the corner of his eye he glimpsed the open wine bottle where Charlie Delman had left it on the island counter. Beside the bottle were 3 glasses of Chardonnay. The tremulous surface of each serving glimmered jewel-like, and Joe wondered fleetingly if something had been in the wine, poison, chemical, drug. When Lisa saw Joe approaching, she lowered her hands from her temples and opened her fists,